Okay, so let's dive into something that, on the surface, makes absolutely no sense. We live in the age of 15-second TikToks and infinite scrolling, right? But somehow, the fastest corners of the internet have become obsessed with the slowest, most boring films ever made. We're going to figure out how that's even possible.
So that's the big question, isn't it? How can these incredibly long, demanding movies not only survive but actually thrive on platforms built for instant gratification? It's a huge paradox, and the answer tells us something really surprising about where culture is heading.
All right, so first things first, let's be clear about what kind of movies we're talking about here. This isn't your typical Friday night popcorn flick. This is, well, it's more like an endurance test.
The genre is called slow cinema, and really, it's all about atmosphere. Just picture this, scenes that last for minutes on end with no cuts, almost no plot to speak of, and the whole point is just to get you to slow down and sink into the world on screen.
And, the way you were supposed to watch these things was, as this quote puts it, in an austere monastic mode. Basically, alone, in a dark, silent theater. It was a very serious, very solitary commitment. But that's not what's happening anymore.
Yeah, that whole watching it alone in a dark room thing, it's being completely turned upside down. Because online, people have decided that being alone is not the point at all.
And this is where it gets really cool. That cinematic endurance test, it's now a team sport. People are gathering on Twitch, on Discord, on YouTube, and they're turning these quiet, meditative films into huge, loud, interactive parties.
So I know this might sound a little abstract. Let's look at some real-world examples of how this is actually happening, because it's pretty wild.
All right, first up, the film Days. It's over 2 hours long and has almost zero dialogue, just long, quiet scenes. So, what do people on Twitch do? They fill the silence. They'll do these soft ASMR-style voiceovers or just start riffing on philosophy, essentially creating a whole new soundtrack for the movie on the fly.
Or how about this one? Vitalina Varela is this gorgeous but very somber and quiet film. So online film clubs are bringing back this old Japanese tradition called benshi, which is like live narration. They'll have poets performing original work over Discord during the screening, adding this entirely new layer of storytelling to the film. Then you've got Long Day's Journey into Night, which is famous for its insane 59-minute-long continuous shot. It's super dreamy and confusing by design, so when people watch it online together, the live chat just explodes. It becomes this massive, collective brainstorm with everyone throwing out theories, trying to solve the puzzle of the film in real time.
Ready for a challenge? Imagine a 4-hour black and white musical. That's Season of the Devil. It's a huge ask, but at virtual festivals, it becomes a performance piece. Viewers add their own music, their own spoken word poetry, creating this chaotic, totally unique audio experience on top of the film. Now this next one is wild because the movie itself almost knows how it's going to be watched. It mixes these long, slow driving scenes with sudden, jarring TikTok clips. It's like it's daring you to react. And people do. Streamers will literally pause the movie and launch into huge debates about capitalism on Reddit and X.
And finally, a documentary called The Last Year of Darkness. This one shows how personal the interaction can get. On streaming platforms like Mubi, it's not just analysis. People share their own memories, their own stories that the scenes bring up. They even create and share custom music playlists to go along with the film's mood.
So you might be thinking, okay, that's just some weird stuff fans are doing online, but it's actually going mainstream. The big institutions and the tech world are starting to catch on and build this kind of interaction right into the experience.
I mean, we're literally seeing this with big names like MoMA. They're starting to program screenings not just as a movie, but as a live event. They'll have a historian or a theorist doing a live commentary track as it plays. The interpretation is becoming part of the show itself. And of course, tech is jumping all over this. On one hand, you've got augmented reality streams that let a whole audience draw and write notes on top of a scene together. And on the other, you have full-on VR cinemas, where you and your friends' avatars can sit in a virtual theater and watch a movie in perfect sync. It's making the watch party official.
So what does all this add up to? Well, it's pointing to a really fundamental shift in how we relate to movies, from just passively watching to actively taking part.
These films are basically becoming something totally new, networked durational pieces. The experience isn't just what's on the screen anymore. It's now assumed that it also includes the live chat, the commentary, the whole conversation happening around it.
And really, this quote just says it all perfectly. The line between reacting to and co-authoring the film is getting blurry. The audience isn't just a bunch of spectators anymore. Through all this interaction, they're helping to create the film's meaning in real time.
So that leaves us with one big final question. We used to think of film as a one-way street. Now it's becoming a two-way conversation. We talk back to the movies, we add to them, we reshape them together. The quiet theater is turning into a global chat room. So the only question left is, what are you going to add to the conversation?